How's it going, everybody? This is Dave. Welcome back to Talking Wolves for another match preview. Today, we're going to be previewing Wolves' trip to Crystal Palace this weekend. Obviously, there is a lot to talk about with what has been going on so far this season. As always, my name is Dave, and alongside me, as you can see, I've got my guest today, Finners. Finn, how's it going, man?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Apart from the football, all good. I thought we'd ask you on today, Finn, because you always like to bring like a positive twist to things. I hope, anyway. I hope you can today.
Try my best.
Yeah, try your best. Before we kick off with the preview, be sure, guys, to check out our channel partners over at OneFootball. As always, I'll leave a link to them down in the description. Great football app. I know Finn uses it as well as I do. You can check out your live scores, your live football news on there, your transfer news. When you download the app for the first time, you can select your favourite teams and your favourite leagues, and you'll get all your push notifications catered to those. They push out quite a lot of Wolves news as well, to be fair. So it's a pretty good app to download. As I say, free on Android and iOS, and it's in the link down below. But Finn, Crystal Palace versus Wolves, and a game where sort of on paper you probably think Wolves should get something out. It's almost a must win now for Wolves with the circumstances. 5 games in the Premier League, 0 wins. We thought maybe our first Europa League game will give us something to cheer and be happy about, and we've even gone and lost that. So, I mean, let's talk about our Premier League start so far. Like, how have you been surprised with Wolves' form? Are you confident we can turn it around? Has it been the performances that have been bad? What is it for you?
Yeah, it's so strange how 1 or 2 results can change it, because it obviously, I don't know when. When did they overlap? I was trying to think the other day. I was recording something for someone else, and like, when was the Torino game in our Premier League fixtures? Had we played Leicester either side? Like, was it either side of Leicester? I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it was sort of like the Europa League was they were glorified friendlies, weren't they? That's what Nuno treated them as, against the sort of like Punics and Crusaders. But we did so well, confidence was so high, and it was like, I know there was murmurs about
After
the transfer
Burnley,
window.
the second leg was
Was
after
it?
Burnley. Yeah. So 3 games in. Yeah.
Flipping hell.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. So was Punic around Leicester? I honestly, the start to the season's just been a bit all over the place, hasn't it? But it's sort of like you get them 3 draws, and it's like, okay, Wolves are unbeaten this season, and you can put like the stats of Wolves are one of the only teams to be unbeaten. I think it was us, Liverpool, and City, was it? All of a sudden, a loss comes in, and it's like, all right, we could have lost 3 games, won 1, and we'd still be in the same position here. And then another loss comes in, which is the current situation we're in now, and it's just like, I don't know which side to say. I'm going to try and be positive. I think if Matt was here, he'd be telling me to shut up and whatever. But
that's why I haven't got Matt on today. I know a lot of people in the comments always talk about how negative Matt tends to be. Sometimes he likes to say how it is, but I thought with the situation Wolves are in, I'll get Finn here because I'm sure he'll like to put a little positive twist on things anyway.
To be honest, most things he says I agree with, and I think we particularly bond over the Adama Traore love him. But that's I normally agree, and he says it how it is, and I'm probably going to dance around it and not be as harsh as he will, because I agree with most of the things he says. But well, nearly all. I don't want to start anything. Love you, but yeah, I think there's so many fine margins that have happened. For example, Dendonker's goal against Leicester, it still annoys me. Still, like, how is that not a goal? The Newcastle one, that's 3 points then. You don't know, but it looks really bad, and it had... I'll start again. The worst thing is, in the last 3 games, is that the performances haven't been good. I think start of the season, like Leicester, I thought with poor first half, which is a theme of this season, to be honest. I know we'll probably come on to that fact. We've recently tweeted out that poor in the first half, but I think better in the second half, executed the game plan. And obviously, VAR, I won't get started on it again. Man United, I think you could say we had the better of the second half, but then you could also say Jesse Lingard misses a sitter, Pogba misses a penalty. And I don't want to go through every game here, but there's so many fine little margins. And I think it's only a matter of time before it comes good. But if we lose again this weekend, it starts to become a bit squeaky bum time, doesn't it? And I think I said at the end of my Chelsea video, I was like, well, we'll beat Braga, beat Palace, and all of this will be over. And then obviously yesterday happened, and that one was just, it reminded me of what we did against the big teams last year. Like, they defended brilliantly. They had dangerous players on the attack. I thought that Horta was good, particularly at number 90 as well. I know you were in the South Bank. So
Galeno, the Portuguese guy.
Was it a dive?
I remember everyone going around me going mental, but I said it's not a penalty, but it's not a dive. It's like one of them where there is contact, but it's not enough for a penalty. And I think it was the fact he took like 2 more steps before he went on the ground. But I said it's like typical young Brazilian type players, you know, like that little bit of contact, they're going to look for something. So I think that's what it was.
One down RM was definitely a dive, I can tell you that. That one was,
it was a great shot by the ref.
That number 5,
Yeah, when the ref blew the whistle, I was a little bit worried, but obviously it went the other way.
He was Dean-esque as well, I thought. The way his cards were up, and I was worried. I thought, he's going to love to give a pen here, but no,
Yeah. As you say, I mean, the start to the Premier League and start to games in general has been extremely slow. I've probably said this on every video for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Wolves are still the only team not to take a lead in a Premier League game. That's a big concern. And a stat that we just posted on Talking Wolves at the time of recording, Wolves, based solely on second half performances, they would be in the top 4 based on that. So if second halves only counted, obviously, you know, in a parallel universe, we would have 2 wins and 3 draws, and that shows Wolves how much better we are in the second half, and the slow starts are costing us as a club. I mean, I think one of the more frustrating things for me, Finn, as well, is that there are no major... I mean, it makes it even more difficult for Nuno, because for me, there's no major individual errors. It's just little things that is costing us. It's not like, everything's down to Ryan Bennett, or everything's down to Ruben Neves, or everything's Dendonker's fault, because Nuno could obviously just drop them and put someone else in the team. It's the fact that it's areas on the pitch, or little things, or things that can be avoided that Wolves almost haven't done yet. And I think that is the frustrating thing for Wolves. We'll quickly move on to our opponents, Crystal Palace. Obviously, at their place, they're currently sat in 12th place this season. Their first 5 games, they've played Everton and Manchester United, as have we. They've had a few tough games, but they've still done all right, and they're probably on track for the amount of points they would want to get. So opening day, 0-0 draw against Everton. They then actually lost to newly promoted Sheffield United, but turned it around with a famous victory at Old Trafford, 2-1 win. A great turnaround for them, obviously with Van Aanholt's 93rd minute winner. And despite them losing to Sheffield United, they then went and beat Villa. But most recently, a 4-0 loss to Tottenham Hotspur. I think Spurs tend to get the better of them throughout the season. But it's low scoring for Palace. Just the 3 goals so far this season, and they're in the 2 victories for them. Finn, what do you make of Crystal Palace so far? It's going to definitely be an interesting game, this one.
Yeah, well, I said last week with the Chelsea game, before the game, I said this is the exact game that I want at this moment in time. It's still all a little bit down in the dumps, and you think a team that's going to attack, leave. Obviously, they went with the 5 at the back in the end, but before it was like they basically left 2 at the back, and I thought we could have really exploited that. Obviously, that didn't happen. But this week, I'd probably say this isn't the sort of team that I would want to play. But hopefully, if I was right last week, I can be. If I was wrong last week, I can be wrong again. But it's not the team that I want to play. They're very, as you say, low scoring, but good. Bar that Spurs result, obviously good defensively. I think they've been good on FPL as well. I think Van Aanholt's one of the top scoring defenders so far, isn't he? So it's probably not the sort of team we want to play. I just can't see us unlocking. I don't know. Just like last season, you thought, well, Jimenez and Jota up front, something's going to happen, and that hasn't happened this season. I've persevered again with FPL with Jota up front, and it just hasn't happened this season. Maybe if I take him out, it'll lift the curse. But I can't see us breaking down team like Braga was a perfect example. It didn't look until Traore came on and had a few runs and got kicked a few times. I couldn't see how the goals were going to come. And in the previous games, it hadn't been a problem. 2 against Everton, 2 against Chelsea, albeit the Chelsea ones when we knew we were already beaten and just sort of went for it. But I'm not too confident. I don't know. I think Palace aren't going to sit 10 behind the ball, 11 behind the ball at home. I'd hope not anyway. And the game away last season was pretty entertaining, to be fair. First half wasn't great, but second half, I can't see it. I think it's quite poetic as well with Doherty. Like, I can't see Doherty doing what he did in the Palace game last season. There's something not right there with him. I thought he was a little bit better at Braga, but he's not the player of last season. I just don't have the confidence. And it was around a similar time in the season, wasn't it? When we went to Selhurst Park last season, I was so confident. I think my video title for that one after we'd won was like Wolves for Europe, ? I should have put some money on it at the time. But the sort of contrasting confidence levels between that, and we only scraped a 1-0 win then. I'm thinking a draw. I don't know whether we're going into score predictions yet,
Yeah.
but I'm not confident of a win. But I'm just desperate for one. I think one win, and it should kick starters. It was just like that Chelsea win in December. This is sort of our November rut of bad performances, and we need that one to propel us almost.
In terms of, I use this as a thing on the Braga match review, a worry, sort of a worry counter from 0 to 10, with 0 not worried at all and 10 sort of, well, worried. Where would you rank yourself at the moment?
To be honest, I watched that and agreed with you in the sort of like, I'm this now, but if we lost to Palace,
I think it was like 6
Yeah.
now, and maybe if we lost to Palace, it would be about 7.5 or something like that.
Yeah, well, at the start of you could almost follow it through the season, couldn't you? I think the transfer window was probably the last time I think it was a poor transfer window, to be honest. I think that's one of the things that people sort of picking up with now. Yeah. And I think with one of the main things that I thought hasn't really been picked up on, watching Vallejo now, I think he may have been a panic. Obviously, everyone's saying, well, he's at Real Madrid for a reason. They've offered him a contract, blah, blah, blah. And we haven't seen loads of him. But I'm thinking Diaz was the target. They've gone, oh, God, we can't get him. Right, Real Madrid, he's on like, he must be. I don't know whether it was sort of like an impulse one because they were worrying. We know that they didn't get the targets that they wanted. I think Catrone is really the diamond in there. Obviously, a lot of people saying send him back, but I don't agree with that. I think he's been brilliant. And the one down our end, he should have scored. And I just loved all the stuff yesterday. Like when the guy was down with cramp, he was like picking him up and like placing the ball down.
He's like a proper Italian though. He's got the passion and the workmanship. Yeah, I like Catrone a lot.
I wouldn't be looking for that receipt like people were saying. But I think he's the one shining light at the transfer window. But my worry then was pretty high, and then brilliant Europa League start, obviously albeit against Farmers and whatever. And then Leicester, I thought we're good here. Man United, I thought we're good here. Burnley, and then it started to go up from there, didn't it? Really, and I'd agree with you in that probably about a 6 now, and probably about 4 or 5 before Braga. That sort of sent it up a tiny bit, and I think we go up exponentially as from now if we keep losing.
Yeah. It has been a tricky start for Wolves. I mean, it's not been the most difficult. There's definitely winnable games in there, such as the Burnley, possibly the Leicester game. But we play Manchester United, Everton, Chelsea. They are tough games. They're not easy games. So the next 2 games for Wolves are crucial in Palace and Watford, and then Manchester City is that game before an international break. And that's when the pressure's going to really be on Nuno if he doesn't get the results. After that, we've got Southampton and Newcastle, but we're looking way into sort of October then. So, I know both, and it sounds like and it looks like maybe they are prioritising European football and Europa League. And I know I've seen a lot of people say, we're going to be in the Championship and win the Europa League. And they're like, no, I'd much rather us be in the Premier League next season. I know how much everyone would love to win the Europa League, but it's still so tough. And all the Champions League teams have got to drop in and so on. But I'd much rather have Premier League football. Finn, I'm going to let you pick out key men because as I put on Twitter yesterday, the last 4 videos I've picked out a key man and they've scored every single time. Ricardo Horta, what a shout that was. He got the winner. Tammy Abraham smacked a hat-trick bastards. Richarlison scored and Ashley Barnes scored. So I'm going to let you pick and talk about a key man for Crystal Palace today rather than me spout any rubbish.
To be fair,
pick Christian Benteke if you want. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, I'll let you say one and put some money on it. But for me, I don't know. I'd say one of the things I mentioned when I was doing a bit for Crystal Palace channel earlier, if Traore plays, I think Van Aanholt Traore could be a really interesting battle. I know there'd be a winger on as well. And I'm not quite sure. Obviously, the main one's Zaha, isn't it? The main sort of. But I'm not quite sure what's going on with him. Is he? I think he's playing every week. He's
playing, but he's not quite. He's not quite hitting that form
hasn't
yet.
Quite hit the heights. Yeah. I've always liked Townsend. I quite like Townsend, but he seems to pull out like 4 or 5 worldies a season, and that's about it. And with our sort of run at the moment, I'm sure one will come this weekend. But I think Bennett and Zaha might not be a great combination. Obviously, that brought out a penalty last time at Molineux. So maybe it'd be Milivojevic, bag a few penalties. I don't know. But I think Van Aanholt, if we play Traore, I think that overload, would it be Townsend and Van Aanholt
Townsend that doesn't really start. So at the moment, the last few games especially, I'd tell a lie. He played against Spurs, but they've been playing Schlupp and Zaha as the wingers predominantly. Right. Okay. Van Aanholt and Joel Ward as the fullbacks.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a cheap one on. Or is it Kelly that's cheap on FPL?
Yeah, Kelly.
I'm way too FPL
Kelly's
sent at the moment. But no, yeah, I'd say Van Aanholt, Zaha, and Ayu's done all right. I know he only scored 1 goal last season, and obviously who was it against?
Yeah.
But this season he seems to have started quite well. So I'll let you pick out the one because you seem to have the knack for it at the moment.
I was going to say Ayew or
Zaha
Zaha as well, but you've said it first, so hopefully I haven't cursed it this week. It tends to be whoever I put on the thumbnail. Horty was on the thumbnail, Abraham, Richarlison, Ashley Barnes, they're all on the thumbnail, and they scored. So I'll make sure I put like Wayne Hennessy.
Wayne Hennessy,
yeah. I'll put Wayne Hennessy on the thumbnail. Is he playing in goal for him still, or is it? Oh, it's Guaita.
Yeah.
We'll put Benteke or something on the thumbnail. He hasn't scored in about 4 years. Now we move on to the fun bit. I say fun bit, score prediction. Well, let's go team prediction first. I mean, I've said on a few videos so far, this time last year, you could literally, man for man, system pick who was going to play for Wolves. You know, I think it was 8 or 9 games consecutively that we'd pick the same team. This season, you could draw the names out of a hat to pick who's going to start. But, I mean, we'd probably both agree Patricio in goal. I'd assume.
Yeah, he's the one who already hasn't been picked out of that very much.
Bring Harry Burgoyne back into the frame. Back three. Do you think Vallejo's coming back in, or do you think he's going to stick with that same back three? And what would you go for? The same back three as Braga?
I'd probably go BBC. Yeah, get them in.
BBC. That means
if Cody was on the side, done quite well.
Bolly Bennett, Cody, by the way, for anyone.
Oh yeah, not Benzema, whatever, Bale, Cristiano,
or any other abbreviations you like to use.
Or the British Broadcasting Company at the back. They might do as well at the moment, to be fair. But yeah, I'd probably go with those three. I think Vallejo definitely better distributing at the back. I know he had a pretty off game against Chelsea, but I think that 1 goal was at Punic, again, albeit against a team that standard of Punic. But you saw the potential that he's got with playing the ball out from the back. But I think just, go to what we know, and what we know has worked. So I'd stick with the British Broadcasting Company.
Fullbacks, Johnny, I'd assume on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the moment, we have like the sort of conservative and attacking. I'd sort of go one of each. I'm just not sure which way around I'd go. You know what I mean? Like, as in like one of Vinagre and Traore, one of Doherty and Johnny, but I'm not sure.
I'd say Johnny Adama, I reckon.
Do you reckon? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
as long
as Zaha is on the right, Johnny will deal with him. But I'm a bit worried if they're like, say, oh, let's swap wings, Zaha or Adama. I mean, it'd be a nice pace, but it'd be a nice sprint battle. But I'll be interested on that front. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's stick with those suggestions. This is probably the most difficult one, midfield three. Does Saïss come back in?
I think I've just started noticing it, really. I think Dendonker's had such a poor start to the season. So he's the one that's sort of looking vulnerable for me. Moutinho's a dead cert in there, obviously had a rest on Thursday.
Hopefully signing a contract as well, Moutinho.
Oh, yeah, of course, in the next 10 days, whatever it was. Neves is basically playing like an extra sweeper. So whoever, maybe you could put Neves in Dendonker's space and put Seves in the sweeper role. New signing. But yeah, Dendonker's place looking vulnerable for me. But I think when he's out the team, you sort of lack that physical element. But his passing's been so poor. And what would you say? I think Moutinho's my dead cert in there, and then it's 2 of Dendonker's.
I think you are correct. I think based on form, although Morgan for me was okay yesterday, I don't think this game is suited for him because, as you say, you got Palace or you got Milivojevic, who's quite a big guy. They've got a little bit of something in there. I'd probably say Neves, Moutinho, but they've got to get the roles right. Neves cannot be sat alongside Connor Cody. It just doesn't work. So I think you're right. If we can get Neves pushed slightly higher, or maybe not the role Dendonker is, like pressing, really high. But I think Neves and Moutinho with Saïss just in behind, and it could be a good one. We'll stick with those three strikers now. Raul's looking leggy, Finn. I know he's your man, but does he get dropped, or is he? I mean, it looks like in Nuno's eyes, he seems undroppable.
I know. Yeah, I really thought he'd get a rest on Thursday. I don't know whether Nuno thinks he's got this massive engine on him, and I think the key is always, I'd have probably for the Chelsea game rested him, and then I'd have been fine playing these two. But after an international break, he's never, I hate saying it, but I know I go into the game and think, oh, well, this is getting less than 10,000 views because he's not going to score today. So I know he's never after an international break. There might be one anomaly in there somewhere, but on average. But can he play another? I don't know. I quite like to see Cutrone start, but I think Cutrone doesn't have a partnership with either of them. I don't think we've ever seen Jota and Cutrone up front, to be fair, but there just doesn't seem to be that sort of connection there like there was with Jota and Jimenez. But that was last season. I don't think there has been with them two this season either. But again, like I was saying with the back three, you'd probably just go with what worked last season. And to be fair, we played 4-3-4 against 3-4-3 against Crystal Palace last season. But I'd go with what works against most of the teams. I'd just go Jota and Jimenez. But I don't know. They're both going to be tired. And as we've seen today, Morgan Gibbs-White saying we're tired. It's like what is going on here? How did we not prepare for this? It's sort of, I don't know. It all stems back to the transfer window for me. My panic might be up to a 7. The more I talk about it. Sorry, I'm not being very positive here. What would you go for?
Cutrone's been good, but I think you are right. I think I'd like to see him with Jota. For me, Jimenez, I know he's our sort of top goal scorer this season. Jota's not been great. I mean, that's his dilemma, really. But Cutrone and Jimenez, they're both good enough to play with each other, but they're just not getting the service. They are not getting the service whatsoever, and there's no link between the midfield and attack. So that's.
Did you see that tweet earlier on where someone had put our foot no wonder we didn't win when we were playing like this or whatever, and they had Jimenez right wing,
so it's like a heat map
Morgan
of how
left mid
Wolves
or
set
whatever.
up, and there's just a massive hole in the midfield.
Yeah.
And that's why we're not getting the ball to the strikers. So let's move on. Score prediction, Finn. Go on. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking either same as last year, 1-0 or 1-1, and one's heart, one's head. I'm going to go with my heart. We're going to end it. We're going to end. Obviously, spoilers. I don't maybe on the podcast on Monday making my debut, and I think I want to be happy for it. I want a happy debut.
Yeah.
So 1-0. It's going to happen.
You want to be happy, and it's not just going to be the biscuits that are on display for the podcast. You want to be happy because of the football.
It'll be the vodka that's out if we win.
I said 2-1 before the Braga game, 2-1 Wolves. But after the Braga game, I am a little bit more negative. So I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1 draw. And
we've covered
I think I predicted a 2-1 win probably every preview as well. So I'm going to say 1-1 draw. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Can Wolves finally win a game this season? It's going to be an interesting game. Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Of course, on Sunday, we'll be here with you with a match reaction, the fans' reaction as well, and we'll be back on Tuesday with the Talking Wolves podcast as well. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. I'm sure I'll see you all very, very soon.